Pablo Escobar met his future wife, Maria Victoria, when he was 24 and she was 13. Though her family didn't approve of their relationship, the pair would remain together until Escobar's death. In March 1976, Escobar married Maria Victoria after dating for 2 years. She was 15 on their wedding day. Soon after, they had their first child, Juan Pablo, who was born in 1977. That same year, Escobar was briefly arrested, at which time the mugshot above was taken by the Medellin Control Agency. He would continue to elude law enforcement for the next decade. Escobar and his son watched television in the early 1980s in their newly constructed house, Hacienda Napoles, the Escobar's estate 100 miles east of Medellin, Colombia. The 8-square-mile estate included a Spanish colonial house, a sculpture park, a private airport, and a zoo. Hacienda Napoles' private zoo included antelope, elephants, giraffes, and hippopotami. Due to the size of the estate, the Escobars typically toured their zoo in a cart. One of the more bizarre imprints of Escobar's life was the smuggling of 4 hippos for his private zoo in 1980s. After his death, the zoo went into disrepair and the hippos were forgotten about. But they managed to thrive and multiply, and in the process, have started to proliferate throughout Colombia. The Escobars welcomed a second child, Manuela, in 1984. Manuela became Escobar's princess. When she asked for a unicorn for her birthday, Escobar bought her a horse and stapled a cone to its head and wings to its back. Escobar's cousin, Gustavo Gaviria, was his most trusted confidant and the financial head of the Medellin cartel. During a trip to Las Vegas in the 1980s, the pair posed as Old West gangsters in a staged photograph. Escobar helps his son with a popsicle during a family outing. In 1982, Escobar successfully ran for Congress in Colombia as part of a larger strategy to prevent extradition to the United States. But the election victory turned out to be Pyrrhic. The heightened scrutiny brought to light Escobar's criminal activities and his history of murdering police, judges, and politicians. Escobar was a rabid fan of football and invested millions of dollars into the Atlético Nacional team based in Medellin. Flush with cash, Atlético Nacional recruited international players and won several international championships in the late 1980s. The leaders of the Medellin cartel were frequent visitors and adopted members of the Escobar family. At the height of their power, they controlled 80% of the global cocaine supply, which netted them upwards of $60 million a day. In the early 1980s, Escobar frequently visited the United States with his family. Above, Escobar and his son pose for a photo in front of the White House. As the law caught up to Escobar, he was unable to spend much time with his family. In the last years of his life, he was shuttled from safe house to safe house, where he was restricted to 3-minute phone calls with his family in fear of being located by Colombian authorities. Using radio triangulation technology, Colombian special forces located Escobar after a cellular phone call was placed to his son on December 2, 1993. Within minutes, forces mobilized on the ground to capture Escobar that culminated in his death by the Colombian National Police. Escobar's mother, Hermilda, attends his funeral on December 3, 1993. In total, more than 25,000 people attended. Juan Pablo Escobar came to denounce the actions of his father and subsequently changed his name to Sebastián Marroquín. He wrote a book entitled Pablo Escobar, My Father, and pledged to donate some of the proceeds to his father's victims. Juan Pablo also released a documentary entitled Sins of My Father, which chronicles his attempts at reconciliation with the sons of Colombian politicians that were assassinated by Pablo Escobar. Escobar's sister, Luz Maria, sits on her brother's grave while visiting his burial place on the 20th anniversary of his death. Regarded by some as a hero and by most as a villain, Escobar continues to cast a long shadow upon Colombia. In the above photograph, a woman walks past graffiti celebrating Escobar in his hometown of Medellin. For many in the working class of Colombia especially, Escobar remains a hero. Above, a resident of Medellin lights a candle in prayer on the 20th anniversary of Escobar's death.